Welcome back to the Malaysia Money Matters show. It's the 21st of January 26.
It's a packed day today. We've got a corporate sector that seems to be, under fire and reinventing itself at the same time.
And that's before we even get to the global landscape, which is just getting more surreal by the hour.
Definitely.
Let's get right into it, starting with the Malaysian corporate scene. The big story has to be IJM.
Oh, absolutely. The MACC is probing a massive RM 2.5 billion money laundering allegation.
Now, IJM has denied the reports about a UK probe, but the market, well, it didn't wait for any clarification, did it?
No, it didn't. The impact was instant. You saw immediate share price volatility and just this intense scrutiny on their governance.
It's a classic reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Reputational risk is just the wildest card in the deck.
Exactly. While IJM is playing defense, you have Maybank going on offense.
Right. With their ROAR30 roadmap, they were targeting a return on equity of, 13 to 14% by 2030.
Which is a major pivot. The impact here is a huge strategic shift to capture that ASEAN growth, especially in wealth management.
So they're not just happy being a local giant anymore.
No, they're aiming for regional dominance. And speaking of strategy, look at Khazanah.
Redirecting capital into power grids and semiconductors.
Yeah, and this connects directly to the whole AI boom. The real impact is that they're prioritizing AI-ready infrastructure.
Because you can't have all these data centers without massive, reliable power.
Exactly. Khazanah is funding the grid resilience you need to run the future.
But the market can be tricky, right? Take LPI Capital. The stock hit a record high, then dipped almost immediately.
Classic buy the rumor, sell the news. All driven by that special dividend excitement. The impact is just a short-term trading frenzy before the correction hits.
We saw some of that volatility in the IPO market too. SBS Nexus.
Right, it failed to float above its IPO price on its ACE market debut, even though it was oversubscribed.
What does that signal?
I think it just signals investor caution. Oversubscription doesn't guarantee a pop on day one anymore.
And then you compare that to ISF Group, the piping company.
Now that's telling. Their IPO was oversubscribed by over 31 times.
So the impact there is just sky-high demand for industrial infrastructure plays.
Yeah, investors are betting on physical pipes and builds over, abstract concepts right now.
But if we look at the broader economy, there are some warning signs. CIMB Thai saw net profits drop nearly 21%.
And that was due to higher provisions. Locally, RAM Ratings is predicting corporate bond financing will moderate this year.
Both of those point to the same thing, don't they? Headwinds.
Big headwinds, yeah. We're looking at slower capital raising and more regional credit risks. It feels like a cooling off period.
The Malaysian Automotive Association seems to confirm that. Auto sales hit a record 820,000 in 2025, but the forecast for 2026 is a drop.
And the impact is clear. It's tightening consumer spending. That post-pandemic revenge spending spree is likely over.
Okay, let's move to international, political, and general news. On trade, the U.S.-Malaysia Reciprocal Trade Agreement is delayed.
It is. PM Anwar wants written assurances, even though December's exports just hit a record high.
So it's a balancing act.
A total balancing act between economic sovereignty and trade growth. Malaysia wants the deal, but not at any cost.
In the courts, we had a major ruling on the Altantuya case.
A huge one. The Court of Appeal ruled the government is not vicariously liable for her death. Only the individuals involved are.
So what does vicarious liability really mean for the state here?
Well, it usually means the employer is responsible for the employee's actions. The impact here is that it sets a very high bar for state liability. It protects public funds, but it also separates the state from the actions of, say, rogue officers.
And speaking of the courts, the judiciary is setting up a special high court just for corruption.
Which should, in theory, speed up graft trials significantly. No more cases dragging on for a decade.
On the policy front, a real mix of things. A new learning matrix is replacing exams for Year 4 and Form 3.
MPs are also pushing for the Residential Tenancy Act, and influencers are now going to be taxed on gifts and tokens.
Right. And Norway's Wealth Fund is backing stricter listing rules here. But it's sad news for the Armed Forces veterans. They lost their pension adjustment appeal.
A lot happening on the home front.
And then there's global geopolitics. It's getting weird out there.
That's one way to put it. You have Trump threatening tariffs on French wine and using AI images to claim Greenland.
It sounds like a joke, but the impact is very real. Renewed trade wars, diplomatic strain. It makes the market incredibly nervous.
Meanwhile, at Davos, China was defending its economic model. And Indonesia pledged central bank independence as the rupiah was hitting new lows.
So they're trying to stabilize investor sentiment in Asia while things get chaotic elsewhere.
It seems that way. And in big business news, Netflix made an all-cash bid for Warner Bros.
And at the same time, private credit is overtaking banks in healthcare debt. That feels like a massive shift.
It is. It means unregulated private lenders are funding hospitals more than traditional banks. It's high risk, high reward.
And with Japan's finance minister calling for calm after their bond yield spiked, it really is a volatile start to the year.
It certainly is.
Here's a thought to leave you with. If private credit is funding our healthcare and sovereign funds are building our power grids, are the traditional roles of government and banking flipping right in front of our eyes?
That is something to think about.
Subscribe to the Malaysia Money Matters podcast. Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.